Delano, now on Bounce, natural disasters have been on our minds, especially as we've seen just the last couple of weeks. We've had hurricanes and earthquakes. There's just daily, happenings in the media, and hundreds of thousands of people are living in the midst of this chaos, and including young children. Our international body language expert, Blanca Cobb, back with us tonight. Want to thank you for being here. And as we're talking during the break, how is it, I guess, these sorts of events affect the psyche of young people?
What happens is children get fearful because they're not sure what's going to happen, so they really look to their parents for guidance. And one thing that I encourage all parents to do is you want to put in words what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what your children are feeling. What holds parents back a lot of times because they feel if they talk about the negativity, the anxiety, they're going to bring their kids down, when actually the opposite happens. Why? Because it normalizes those feelings for your kids, that it's okay to feel unsure or anxious. But then you want to take it a step further. So not only do you normalize, you want to talk about the next steps. So you might say something like, well, right now this is a little unsure time. We're in some temporary housing. We're going to make the best of it that we can, and this is going to give us an opportunity to think about how we're going to get our life back together.
When you look at the role of parents, so how reassuring can they be? Because oftentimes when folks are most vulnerable in those formative years and they look up to those authority figures, and a lot of times the folks who are authority figures are a little shaky themselves.
And that's okay, because we are human. So children are going to get their clues from you, and that's all right, but it's how you handle it. So if you can say, yes, I'm stressed, I'm nervous, I'm not sure, but we're going to figure this out. It might take a little bit of time. That's giving your children some comfort because they know what you're doing to try to help them.
What is it when youngsters look at pictures like this, what we're seeing here, and they see this on their phones and on their iPads and on their TV sets night after night? I mean, I'm sure that some of them are feeling a little empathy there for the folks that are impacted, but I'm sure that they worry, can that happen here?
Absolutely. This is a possibility that it can happen, but you want to keep things in perspective for your children. That in the event, that's why the Weather Service meteorologists let us know what's going on. They give us warnings so that we can prepare ourselves as best that we can. In situations where you can't completely protect yourselves, that there are first responders that the community is going to come in to help. So you have to let your children know the bigger picture.
As youngsters settle into this kind of new normal or reality, what is it you do to get them to at least be able to cope with this environment?
Well, one thing, if possible, if you're in temporary housing, what you want to do is bring something from home, something that is familiar. Because when you have something familiar, it's comfort. In
Almost like the Linus blanket, right?
Exactly. So whether it's a lovey, a toy, a book, even a favorite shirt. In situations where everything is gone and everything is ruined, what you want to do is go back to some semblance of your routine that you did have. So it might look a little different if you're in temporary housing because there are a lot of people, but if you can get your bedtime routine or your morning routine as similar as it can be, you might have to improvise, but that helps give your kids some reassurance and familiarity.
Is there a measuring stick though to realize, okay, I'm getting through this thing? It's like, hey, I'm not crazy. I'm going to be okay. Or we collectively as a unit, we're going to be all right.
Yes. You read your kids. No one knows your kids better than you. So you're going to look at their behavior. You're going to look for differences in that behavior. And when those behavior changes are happening, because that gives you information. So when you talk to your kids and you talk about the emotions and also how you're feeling, then you want to ask them, how can I help you? Because you might be surprised at the information that your children give you. And then you can also play on that and expand that more by giving suggestions, and you work on it together.
A couple other things though, when you talk about the behavior modifications, are there any red flags that as a parent, as a care provider, that you need to monitor? Absolutely.
Because you know your kids best, you start looking for aggressive or regressive behaviors.
Oh, sure, sure.
So if they start acting younger, or they start acting more clingy, or a lot of times...
Or acting out.
Acting out, that's where I was going, Steve, so you're reading my mind here. So if they start having these outbursts of anger, realize a lot of times that's really fear in disguise. They just are not comfortable with those fear emotions, so it comes out as anger and outbursts and yelling or screaming or slamming doors or even shutting down, like physically pulling back, not wanting affection or talking or any interaction.
All right. Blanca, always great perspective. Thanks for coming along tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if you want to reach out to her, you can go to her website. We've got the information right here. You can see it on the screen, phone number, as well as her Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And we also have the information on our website, WBTV.com. Look in the web extras section tonight, right on our homepage. Thanks again, and it's always great having you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right.